COPPA isn't actually that dangerous. Keep watching to find out why. COPPA is known as the Child's Privacy Protection Online Act, and it details essentially protecting children online. This was actually introduced by the FTC in 1998, and it's been 20 years since then, and since then they have updated it several times. Now recently, YouTube themselves have actually gone in the really hot waters surrounding the entirety of COPPA. However, this puts the entire community of YouTube at the stake of COPPA and the FTC. To be more specific, YouTube and Google were sued for a combined $170 million recently for not actually protecting children. If you want to know why that is, it's essentially YouTube were allowing for the collection of data for children under 13. And this actually goes against COPPA's rules, which state that child's data cannot be collected online. To reinstate what I said earlier, this law was made in 1998 and it's been 20 years since then, and it has been updated since then. However, the law is so wishy-washy, and combined with YouTube's overall opaque attitude towards the entire law and the creators on the website, it kind of makes it so that no one really knows what's actually happening here. Since YouTube actually brought in the new ruling system, the entire community has actually erupted in flames, and no one knows what's actually going on anymore. Now, to be fair to COPPA, I will give a disclaimer and say, COPPA is ultimately a good thing. I understand it completely. Protecting children online is actually very important. I support it. However, the entire attitude towards COPPA and how they're essentially blueballing creators and making them gamble their entire career is very unfair towards the actual creators themselves, and the entire fact that YouTube is all the more spearheading this and kind of just making it worse for us is kind of unfair. So without further ado, I'll now read out to you the rules of COPPA so you can play your own wee mini game. Is your favourite channel, or an extension of that, is your channel a kids channel or not for kids? Ahem. The subject matter. Visual content. The use of animated characters or child-oriented activities and incentives. The kind of music or other audio content. The age of models. The presence of child celebrities or celebrities who appeal to children. Language or other characteristics of the site. Whether advertising that promotes or appears on the site is directed to children. And competent and reliable empirical evidence about the age of the audience. On the outset, you're probably thinking about how wishy-washy these guidelines are. Literally everything on the website could debatably be classified as for kids. You have a cartoon avatar for kids. You have upbeat music for kids. You have celebrities that appeal to children. Like what? Who? When I was younger, I liked Riley Reid. However, she is definitely not for kids. Language or characteristics of the site? What does that even mean? Do you want me to swear? Children swear. I know. Ahem. Whether advertising that promotes or appears on the site is directed to children. And competent and reliable empirical evidence about the age of the audience.
Alright, so we update. Empirical evidence actually means what audience your YouTube channel has. So for example, my audience would mostly be 18 to 24 year olds, whereas your audience will be different. But this is actually a very good thing, as it can actually prove what type of audience we have, and thus we can get out of COPPA and making our content for kids.
YouTube themselves have responded and retaliated to this law by giving us two options. We can either classify our content as for kids or not classified as for kids, which just blurs the line even more, because I personally know content creators who do apply with some of the rules of COPPA, but they're ultimately not for kids. So you're probably thinking, why does it matter? I'll just set my content as for kids, so I'll get the widest demographic possible. Well, the caveat being, if you do set your content as for kids, you won't get notifications from your favourite content creators, you won't be in the subscription box, you won't be searchable, you won't be recommended, you won't get really good ads because they're not collecting data or cookies. Effectively, your chances of growing as a creator are ultimately fucked. Okay. So what if your content isn't made for kids? But a crucial part of this is YouTube's iconic machine learning tools, which will automatically scan for your videos and designate them into a certain group, whether that's for kids or not for kids. This wouldn't really be a problem, except that YouTube will actively punish you for wrongly putting your videos into a different category, i.e. you have a non-child friendly video registered as child friendly, or you've got a child friendly video registered as not child friendly. And the punishments goes the following. You could either get your video taken down, you could get your channel taken down, or at the very top of that, you can get sued by the FTC for $42,000 per video. $42,000. I'm actually 15 and I've got 40 quid in my bank account. 42,000. So you're telling me the big FTC can come after me and my 42 quid in my bank account, all because I wrongly identified one of my videos? 42,000 for one video. What if my entire channel is classified wrongly? Will I get sued for several $100,000? Well, many YouTubers are absolutely shitting the bed about this and building up to the end of YouTube. I'm here to tell you that they're wrong, effectively. Like many things nowadays, the media will exaggerate it to unproportionate levels. Actually, reading the COPPA law, you'll see a so important sentence of, under COPPA, there is no one-size-fits-all answer about what makes a site directed to children. And just because your video has bright colours or animated characters doesn't mean you're automatically covered by COPPA. While many animated shows are directed to kids, the FTC recognises that there can be animated programming that appeals to anyone. This goes a long way into ensuring that these rules aren't as crippling as everyone says they are. And surprisingly enough, COPPA does recognise that there are channels with mixed audiences, and there should be an option for that. Just because a video on YouTube has an animated character, or bright colours, or a wee shitty persona, doesn't mean it's compliant by the COPPA rule, and therefore for kids. There are plenty of examples of creators who do have bright characters with bubbly personalities, but they ultimately aren't for kids. So, use your brain. It's not worth the FTC's money or time to go out there and individually sue every single content creator. And even if they did, I doubt it would be for that large of an amount, because it says up to 42,000. Not you're automatically going to get sued for that much. So at the end of the day, COPPA is actually quite reasonable, and there isn't that much to fear, is there? Me being a happy-go-lucky fella, I am choosing to be optimistic, because these changes would be quite catastrophic for the entire website, and at the end of the day, there's little we can actually do to stop the FTC other than comment on their website. And I want to give a message out. If you are a creator or you watch YouTube at all, you should comment on the FTC and tell them your problems with the entire COPPA rule if you really want them to change it. However, due to YouTube and their entire shitty service, they're effectively fucking you over. To be fair though, I don't actually blame people for having this bleak outlook on the entire situation. YouTube's entire approach to it was pretty diabolical, and it's been a PR disaster. We aren't really being protected by YouTube anymore, as the FTC are going directly after the creators. And this entire thing makes me seriously ponder YouTube's choices about this. YouTube themselves, they have an app called YouTube Kids, which, believe it or not, is for kids. So it would be assumed that everyone using the actual main website of YouTube would, surprisingly enough, be over the age of 13. Now, I understand that kids actually lie about their ages, and there isn't really much you can do to stop that. However, where I have an issue is, why is YouTube so upset about the main website when they literally have an app dedicated to kids? The problem isn't that YouTube need to be stricter on the main website. The problem is the parents, and they're not actually parenting, because what right parent would let their child on a website for kids over 13? Especially if you're under 13 or you're a child, like an actual child. YouTube actually has really edgy content and sometimes inappropriate content, and it'll expose you to ideas that are probably not for children. So the parents in this situation aren't wrong, as they should be actually parenting instead of doing a backseat parent idea and just letting YouTube do its job, because YouTube is not for kids. Now, I do think YouTube should have had like a more hands-off approach to this. Like, instead of castrating the ones providing content for the website, maybe they should have addressed the parents directly and told them to monitor the content their kids watch. You know, just because kids play GTA 5 doesn't mean they should remove the strip club. It's got an 18 on there for a reason. If the parents buy their child GTA 5, that's their problem, because it says rightfully on there that it's not for children. Just like how YouTube tells you that YouTube is for 13-year-olds and up. On the other hand, I do understand why kids come to YouTube, to watch their favourite content creators, but you still can't deny the fact that there's an app dedicated to children. So why don't children use that app? As you can tell, I'm probably most pissed off that the parents aren't actually doing their jobs here. To get back to COPPA and run up all the information, COPPA isn't the end of YouTube itself. YouTube's incompetence as a service is. I'm joking, it's probably not, by the way. The FTC is aware that there is content on YouTube which is directed towards a mixed audience, and not for kids specifically. and they give you some leeway with that, which is really good. The FTC do recognise that there is content on YouTube which appeals to everyone, and they do give you leeway in terms of what you make. The problem here is that YouTube has disregarded the FTC and the COPPA law, and it's thrown its creators under the bus. Well, in conclusion, I am trying to be optimistic about this entire situation, as I'm trying to rationalise it, but I'm also trying to have a critical look at it and kind of criticise YouTube for what they're doing, as I've never done a video like this before. So it's either I've hit the nail on the head here, or I've kind of just been like way off, and YouTube will see me in court pretty soon, because my content is for kids, even though I said fuck, shit, piss, dick, cum.